Always the glitch. Hello and marhaba, everyone. We welcome you to another exciting episode of our webinar series. Today, the focus is on drone delivery operations. Given the success of numerous trials taking place around the world, drone deliveries have evolved from a science fiction concept to a regular occurrence. The challenge, however, is that of scale. As the industry matures, it has become critical to leverage the power of a complete ecosystem of complementary technologies to get you that bottle of soda while it's still cold, or the medicine just when you need it at scale. And that is exactly what FalconViz, a leading drone solution provider in Saudi Arabia, is doing to elevate drone deliveries beyond an experiment or a pilot project. Well, at this point, I'm sure you're as curious as I am to learn more about how they are solving the challenges brick by brick. And to do so, I would like to introduce the speakers who are joining us from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Is Luca Passon, CPO and General Manager at FalconViz. A KAUST University alumnus, Luca is part traditional researcher. He completed his PhD in 2018 and part horizon scanning entrepreneur. He and his co-founders founded FalconViz in 2015 to provide a wide range of services to companies and institutions in the kingdom and beyond, including topographical surveys, mining and aggregate assessments, flood modeling, and other things. The goal has always been simple: to digitally document the world with increasing accuracy, speed, and coverage. Joining him along is Khalid Abdelgawad, Director of Development at FalconViz. He has 15 years of experience in management of digital design and e-learning. His visionary and leadership abilities aided him in developing and implementing strategic digital plans at the corporate and organizational level, for-profit and non-profit organizations. At FalconViz, he's responsible for a variety of functions, including the development of value creation strategies, sales, marketing, as well as building trust and long-term relationship with clients or customers. Last but not the least, we are joined today by Achal, my colleague and FlightBase's Director of Business Development. He will discuss how FlightZip, FlightBase's flagship product, is helping to scale and manage drone delivery operations. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. But before we jump right in, I would like to share a few housekeeping rules. For the audience, feel free to ask questions anytime during the presentation by simply typing them in the Q&A section. The webinar is being recorded and we will publish the recording online soon. So let's begin today's session with a totally awesome hi from the FalconViz team. Sorry. So, how cool is that? Your world digitized. That's an interesting vision. Luca, would you like to share an inspiration behind FalconViz's inception? And how has the journey been so far?
Yes, first of all, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So FalconViz started roughly 10 years ago. Back in 2013 was the inception, right around the time that the first DJI Phantom was launched, just to give you an idea of how long that is. However, back then we were designing our own drones, and we had our in-house team that was doing this because we wanted to carry bigger cameras, such as the Sony that was really in fashion back then. And the idea was to use these cameras to take really high quality pictures that then we run through these exotic photogrammetry softwares, and they would magically turn them into 3D models. Fast forward to today, photogrammetry is, we can say, almost common knowledge in the field. Everybody now with very limited money can buy a small drone and start doing photogrammetry to some extent. So throughout the years, we shifted our focus into providing value-added services on top of these 3D models, whether it's through the use of AI or custom in-house software, or international partners that we bring, depending on what is required by the clients.
Right, right. That sounds interesting. So I have a follow-up question for Khalid. Could you maybe share some highlights about the services that FalconViz provides and some of the notable projects that FalconViz has undertaken in the past?
Yes, for sure. Thank you, Bijali, for the question. So actually, FalconViz provide a wide range of services and end-to-end solutions in asset digitization field. So we are using emerging technologies such as drones, laser scanners, ultra-high definition cameras, and sensors. And also we are relying heavy on AI and machine learning algorithms to support our clients digitizing their assets rapidly and efficiently. So we are working along the entire value chain of the asset digitization, which includes actually four steps: scanning, data processing, modeling, and final step is to provide our clients with a digital solution where they can use to manage and visualize and monitor their assets. So we are providing all these services to different sectors in the Saudi market, such as oil and gas, construction, mining, telecom, power, also renewable energies, and culture, heritage documentation, agriculture, and many, many more. So since we start in 2015, we have served more than 83 clients with more than 180 projects. Our contribution to the new Saudi economy is remarkable. So FalconViz is one of the Saudi pioneer companies when it comes to using emerging technology to support giga projects that is going on inside Saudi at the moment. Just to name a few of these projects like NEOM, Qiddiya, King Abdullah Financial District, the Red Sea, Jeddah Central, Daraya DGDA, Digital Daraya Gate Development Authority, Royal Commission of Al Ula, and many more. So we are providing different services for different sectors, especially for the new projects and giga projects inside Saudi Arabia.
Right. That's some feat that you have achieved so far. So coming to drone deliveries, because that's the focus of our session today, when did you start working on the ambitious project? So Luca, I happen to social media archives. Let's have a look at it.
Yes, indeed, you did pull this one out from the archives. So many things need to fall into place to even start thinking about drone delivery. So the time really needed to be right. And the video that you saw was one of the tools that we used to see what kind of appetite was out there in the market. So many things need to be in place. The technology. So, for example, drones that are capable of flying for a long period of time, carrying enough payload over reasonable distances. There needs to be an appetite from various stakeholders. So you cannot go too early before people have, the knowledge and the understanding of the technology. And in our case, KAUST was the perfect test area. So the university has a smart initiative where they're trying to bring new technologies to the campus to look into the future, what the cities might look like. So the drone delivery project fitted beautifully into this framework. You need the support from a government agency because for sure for drone delivery, you need to go beyond visual line of sight. So all the permits need to be in place. So in this case, for us was the National Digital Transformation Unit, which again is a part of the government that is looking into the future, into modernizing Saudi Arabia. So when we brought all of these things together within a safe environment to operate the drones, we had the airspace, we had the space on the ground to install some of the hardware that is necessary to some of the things that we will see as the presentation goes along. And so all of this would be nothing without, of course, a software that can gel all of this together, that can help us take care of the drones, of the smart hubs, and give the client a user experience that they can enjoy. And this is where flight base fits into this picture, into the equation of drone delivery for us.
Right. Thank you. So I think Khalid, if you could maybe give the audience a little bit about what was the objective behind this whole project? Where did you want to, kind of cater to the different objectives?
Yes, sure. Just to put some background here. So our project was funded by KAUST, which is King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, and also was funded by National Digital Transformation Unit, which is one of the units under the Ministry of Communication inside Saudi. So these two organizations has the interest to start using different technologies and emerging technologies to test how we can go with this new fronts to Vision 23 and realize the Vision 23 inside Saudi. The main objective was to test this kind of technologies, new technologies, and to see what they can do inside KAUST as one of the projects to achieve specific objectives. Objective number one is for sure to see what this kind of technology can bring to the society and can bring to campus, KAUST campus and other communities inside Saudi. Number two, how this can achieve in decreasing the CO2 emission and relying on renewable energy rather than other types of energy sources. Also, it was in a very good moment because when we started this project, we were during the pandemic, and for sure, in the pandemic, we were trying to find solutions to different challenges that we have at that time, which is lockdown, issues in the supply chain, and so on. So for sure, drone delivery system in such time would be a very good solution at that time, and I think it's still valid this time inside different communities and societies inside Saudi. And hopefully, with this kind of successful projects and successful POCs in different locations, we will be able to deploy a huge system in one of the big cities inside Saudi. And in the future, this can be done across the entire kingdom, inshallah.
Right. I think you summed up the objectives pretty well. Drone deliveries bring in a lot of benefits, and the approach that you are following is the easiest and the best way to move forward if you want to reduce the time to market. So my next question is for Achal. So Achal, there are new one needs to consider before venturing onto a drone delivery project. Could you elaborate why a modular approach, the one which FalconViz is using, is better than the monolithic approach, and how does it reduce the time to market?
Sure, sure. Thank you for that question, Vaishali. So, drone delivery is an animal, right? It's a big animal. There are a lot of components, right? Where you're operating drones not in a defined areas. You're delivering from one location to another. You're operating bvlos. There are so many different components. So, what I've done is we have listed the number of layers which kind of encapsulates a drone delivery service, and where you're looking at a drone hardware, a payload mechanism, a fleet management software, because of course you want to have multiple drones being deployed. You have multiple users, so you need a user management interface or a software. You're automating deliveries, so you want to have drone stations and mailboxes, as well as you are operating in a particular geography where the local regulatory approvals and compliance are very different. And then comes the biggest piece, the delivery operations. So we realize that all of this requires a really upfront big investment. So if you're looking to do all of this would require a lot of investment, lot of time, and which slows down your go to market. So we went to the drawing board and said, what if everybody uses the best of every possible resource that they have, right? They could use the best hardware, the best payload mechanism, the best software, best drone station, as well as they are aware of all the regulatory challenges, approvals, compliance issues, and they can get off. Plus, they also know what are the delivery operation conditions. Our friends at FalconViz, they know how to operate this in Saudi Arabia, right? Where the summers are really, really harsh, and what you would need, what kind of specifications you would need with the drone, hardware, mailboxes, everything that you have on the ground. So focusing on each and every layer is really important, and that is where we prefer that the modular approach, where you are always agnostic. You can choose the right hardware. It kind of reduces your time to market. You can think of like having all the global resources, like the best hardware available around the globe, the best software, the best mailboxes, and you can act locally where you understand how should operations work in that country, in that geography. Your upfront infrastructure challenges could be resolved, where you don't have to invest upfront in everything, like maybe making sure you have developers who would develop software or have designers who are building the entire drone hardware. You need some technology where you are able to choose best of every world. Then you need systems which can scale, where you can always have plenty of drone hardware available. You have software, mailboxes, you have local people supporting you as you are scaling those operations. And then a deeper knowledge and regulation compliance. So these are several challenges which could be easily resolved taking a modular approach, because now you can choose best of every layer in this. So when we look at the modular approach, there are of course bigger companies who are taking approaches there, and they're of course successful. But now as this is something which is expanding, and now people understand what are the requirements in that particular region. This is the approach which can help you reduce your time to market and focus on the best layers. Now, these are the points that I discussed. Summing it up, the benefits are like shorter time to market, quickly moving from POCs to pilot to production. So that's what we've been closely working on FalconViz with, where we're able to do a quick POCs, did pilots, and now we're doing production level deployments. Your investment is low, where you have ready modules, where there is no low R&D cost in terms of most of the modules. You have an optimal solution, so you can select the best options from each layer, as I've been saying, to configure that unique offering, as well as the regulation side, where easier to localize and adhere to local regulations. So these are some benefits of this approach.
Right, right. That kind of sums it up. So, moving ahead, I think I have a question for Luca. So, given the FalconViz's experience working with multiple drones across projects, when you first started with drone delivery operations, what factors did you consider while selecting the drone hardware?
So many things need to be taken into consideration. So first, we decided what would be an acceptable payload that we would want to carry. So how much food, since we're delivering food, would a normal household need? And so we settled for a figure around the 2 kilos. So we wanted to have a platform that could carry this much weight, and that could carry it over up to, let's say, around 4 kilometers and then back. Okay, so this was the basic requirements. So then we go back into something that Achal just discussed, is how can we deploy this quickly and with the least cost, because we started with a proof of concept. So we looked at the drones that we have already in our fleet, and we settled for the DJI M300. So the DJI M300 has a 2.7 kilogram payload. So this gave us about 700, 800 grams for the onboard computer and the box and the deployment mechanism and so on and so forth. The M300 also had other features that for us were very important. So first of all, as you mentioned, we work in Saudi Arabia, so it needed to be able to sustain high heat. So the M300 fit the bill. It needed to be small and light. So why this? Because as part of the proof of concept, we had health and safety and security heavily involved throughout the whole process. So since the drone was small and fairly lightweight, they had, let's say, more peace of mind of us flying the drone all over campus regularly. So in case something happened, it's not a 25 kilo drone carrying 15 kilos or something like this. So this was another big plus towards the M300. Another key factor was proven reliability, right? So if you start the POC with a drone that you've designed yourself in-house, you're adding kind of another layer of complexity to the system. So the M300 is a drone that we use day in, day out in all our projects, in the desert, in the heat. So we're very familiar with it, and all our employees are very familiar with it. And it has safety features such as collision avoidance. It has return to home in case of low battery. Another important feature that we looked for was the dual operator support. So again, for safety, we can have at the beginning an operator at takeoff location and one at the landing location. So while again we're testing that the whole system is working, we can have somebody watching over the drone at both locations. So this was another, let's say, plus that made our health and safety and security team very happy as we started the operation. So this is something that we look for. And so it was a combination of factors that really made us migrate towards the M300. However, all the infrastructure that we have is drone agnostic. So for example, the smart hubs don't just work with the M300. So in the future, when we move to something that can carry more weight or that has different features that we might have identified throughout the POC, we can go down that route and change the drone and how the payload works and still use the infrastructure that we have installed in the university.
Right. That makes sense. M300 is definitely one of the most obvious choices when it comes to conducting drone delivery operations. But what is also important is that the platform be hardware agnostic, which brings me to Achal. So, Achal, does the software support multiple drones, and what kind of drones does it support?
Sure. So very correct points said by Luca and Vaishali, where when you're doing these initial POC pilots or even production development, your system could start with something like a DJI M300, which is a really good drone, and you can do a lot of things in terms of deliveries with it. But as you would move further with different kind of requirements into the delivery landscape, you would certainly have requirement of using different kind of drones. So we have made FlightZip compatible to all the major drones, be it like DJI or custom drones like built on Ardupilot or PX4. So you can use VTOLs, you can use multi-copters, you could have X8 configuration drones integrated into system where you can lift heavy payload, have longer flight time for that kind of delivery service that you're doing. So we ensure that you are able to choose the best hardware, and depending upon the delivery use case you have, you should be able to integrate that with FlightZip really quick and have a hybrid fleet of drones in the future which are doing drone deliveries.
Thanks, Achal. That explains it. So, moving on to Luca. Luca, some of the popular drone delivery companies are trying store-to-door delivery. Did you decide upon hub-to-hub deliveries, and how did that impact the whole process?
Yes, so within the university, we have a variety of different delivery stations. So some are, as you mentioned, store-to-door, but in some cases, this is not possible due to space, due to security. And so we have some areas where we have, for example, apartment buildings. So they're high density, but no space to land the drone safely within that area. And not only for the drone to land safely, but to drop the item in a space where it's safe for the client and nobody could take it, or by mistake or on purpose, let's say. So in this case, we decided that the hub station is the best course of action. So you have a centralized area, so you don't need to go through, let's say, a training period with the client. You know, at the moment, for example, if you see an M300 has no cover on the propellers. So whenever we add somebody to our POC, we go through a short training with them and their families, if they have pets, if they have children. When you go from store to hub, you can skip all of this and you just explain to them how the door opens, which actually is quite straightforward through the app, and then it's safe for them to receive their package.
Right. That makes total sense, and it's a obvious, smarter way to go ahead with deliveries instead of having to cater to so many other factors that come into place when you do store-to-door deliveries. So, from our interaction with the various partners and customers, businesses today conduct drone deliveries with a standard or a QGCS application. Did you, Luca, initially use them too, or were there any challenges that you faced with these standard software solutions?
Yes, so from the video that you showed at the beginning from the archive, this was run through a standard mission planner from DJI. QGCS, it's a great tool for mission planning. We sometimes use it for our photogrammetry work.
Right.
But it's really not the right platform for drone delivery, and there's a variety of reasons. I'm going to start with the most important for us, which is the support for precision landing. So when we fly to the hub, for example, we have a 1 meter square platform that we need to land on reliably and consistently. We cannot afford the drone to land with 2 legs off of the platform. And so in this case, we have an extra camera on the drone that is connected to the FlightZip software. And the FlightZip software handles the landing within a 15 to 20 centimeter radius without the need of RTK. So this for us is like one of the most important reasons and the differentiator from all the other tools that you could use to do mission planning. Secondly, there's the interface that the client sees. So when the drone is out for delivery, the client can see the progress on their mobile phone or on their computer. They receive an SMS and an email, and they enter the code into the platform, and they can see the drone. They can see a live feed from the camera of the drone, and they get all excited as the drone is getting close, try to spot it in the sky. So this is another very important feature that the other softwares don't provide that you mentioned. And then finally, I would say also the integration with 4G. So the drone has the onboard computer has a 4G modem, and this allows us to have a data feed from the drone down to either us, the operators, and also the clients. And so these three, I would say, are the main factors or the main deciding factors to why we need something like FlightZip software over any of the other available options that you've mentioned.
Right. For reiterating the fact how important precision landing becomes when you want to conduct, and these standard software solution definitely don't provide that. But then moving on to Achal, could you highlight the other FlightZip features that or these challenges or gaps in the standard software?
Sure. I can. So let me talk about the platform in detail. So when you're looking at a drone delivery use case, so far when you just use something like a mission planner DCS, that thing first of all is of course not designed for drone delivery, but it's only for like having an operator mindset where you're just operating a drone. But when you are looking at a drone delivery use case, it has multiple users, and typically if you divide them, there is a delivery operator, there is a dispatcher who wants to dispatch product or ship the product, and there is a receiver who is getting that. Now whenever a delivery operation is on in any logistic world, all these three personas need to know the live status of the delivery. One has shipped, one is receiving, one is carrying the package, and all of them needs to be involved. So you need a solution where you can handle all of this. Then it comes to the entire part where it's no longer going to be just one drone. You will always have a fleet that you're operating. So you're able to do that with a fleet of drones with a large set of users. Third point come to the bvlos part, where you should be able to connect to the 4G 5G network and fly the drone at for an unlimited range depending upon what aircraft you're using. On the intelligence side of it, as you're making this fully autonomous, you need components like precision landing, collision avoidance, any other payload integration, like Luca explained what they're doing with the mailboxes or the drone stations that they have. So these are some critical components, plus the API or the integrations one. So as you would go further, your customers would like to integrate this into their existing logistics solutions. There could be food delivery apps, there could be logistic apps, there could be medical apps where people want to integrate their ERP solutions or logistic solution with it. So you need a platform which could provide you the APIs and ensure that that is possible, which is simply not possible with the standard GCS solution which are available in the market.
Right.
So when we talk about FlightZip, and I've focused on this in the previous slides as well, we are looking to provide a platform where you can reduce time to market and have all of these components encapsulated in single platform, where you have a proven reliable solution, eliminating the build or need of building a delivery application, well as it provides APIs so you can integrate with existing logistic applications and save expenses, where FlightZip handles all the automation, allowing teams to allocate resources to other priority operations, which you can focus for your SOPs, regulations, delivery operations, as selecting the right hardware. So there's a quick diagram which explains what are the different personas. So there is an operator dashboard, the company which is operating the entire delivery fleet. There is a dispatcher who wants to ship a product from one end to another end to a receiver. And FlightZip provides all these interfaces, these apps, where you can track drone delivery on the cloud, where you could have your operation centers on your laptop or desktops, where you could track the drone on the mobile phone on the receiver end, and as well as dispatchers who are shipping the product can also track all their deliveries, as well as the history of all the deliveries that they have been doing. So going, we provide an app where you could have a unique login for a delivery request dashboard. You can create delivery requests by adding location on maps and package. You can view live video feed and the location of the drone on the map. So this is the application which is generally used by, say, in case of food delivery by restaurants who are requesting to place an order to their drone delivery service provider, or medical centers who are looking to deliver medicines from one place to another, and they want to raise that request where they've got a phone call to get that done, or they've got it through their app where they want to deliver one item from one place to another. Similarly, we have operator dashboard where operator gets the notification where they can add and manage drone, assign a drone to a delivery request that came from a dispatcher. They can generate an automatic flight plan. They can do delivery, launch delivery missions. They can control the drone manually also if required for some emergency situations or specific delivery locations. They of course get all the live video feed. Plus, they can build SOPs with all the checklists and geofences. They can ensure that the delivery operations are safe. They can also have mission planning in a way where they can have back and forth mission where drone can track the same path and come back on the home location, which is very much required. Otherwise, you would just ask drone to come back, return to home. It might take a straight path, which may not be the most efficient, or may end up into a no-fly zone where you're operating. So we provide specific modules for operators so they can have safe and reliable operations using FlightSim. And the third piece that we're talking about is the receiver dashboard, where you can get the live tracking link and view things on your mobile app, just a tracking link which opens on your browser, and you get an SMS as well as you get an email, so you can know where your drone is and how long it's going to take for the delivery.
Right. So let's watch a quick video to summarize what Achal just said. All of this covered, let's move on to operations, which is, a mammoth of a task by itself. So, Luca, how are you managing the entire operation or process digitalization, like as you would like to call it? I understand you a pilot. How did you go?
Yes. So as mentioned, we first started with the requirements of the pilot, how much food we wanted to transfer, what distances we wanted to cover. So we wanted to cover the whole of campus from the centralized area where the restaurants are. And so as part of the pilot, we wanted to prove that we had the technology and expertise to conduct basically sustained drone deliveries across the campus in a variety of conditions successfully. So sustained here is a key word. So we didn't just want to do this once. The pilot was to show that we could do this reliably over and over, day in and day out, for a 2-month period of time. And to do this in a variety of real-world environments. So again, the pilot included delivering to gardens, so in people's backyards, to people's balconies, to rooftops, to the hubs. So we really tested the system in numerous conditions, by day, by night, when it's really hot, when there is too much food in the order, and so on and so forth. So we really were pushing and find the limitations and see where we can do improvements. We work very closely with Flatbase to when we found things that we needed improvements, we gave our feedback. Flightbase implemented the feedback. We worked together on how we could do the improvements. And so in the end, as part of the pilot, we really wanted something that people could rely upon to get their dinner. And over the so far the 6 weeks that the pilot was in production, I think people were very excited and actually made a point to use the system to get their dinner. So I think so far the pilot has gone pretty well. We have a few more weeks left, and then after that we'll look into the next step, which is expanding the fleet, other things.
Right. I think the next course of action is making this hub-to-hub delivery a commonality across the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Do you also see expanding it beyond the kingdom? Luca?
Yes, so for sure, number one is within the kingdom. We have very good feedback from the stakeholders, from the people, from the government agencies that are involved in overseeing the project. So I think we will start by expanding beyond the university. This is our first objective. We already are in contact with some of the largest food delivery companies that are operating in Saudi and in the Middle East also. So step one is to wow them within our, let's say, vicinity, and then we will expand beyond these borders. So this is the current plan of action.
Right. Khalid, would you like to add something like around what are the next steps?
Yes, for sure. Thank you, Bijali. I think adding to what Luca said, getting a huge demand and a huge number of requests from different organizations. Once we announce about our successful POC with KAUST, which is our strategic partner and our, let's say, our one of our investors, and also with the help of the Ministry of Communication through NDU, National Digital Transformation Unit. That was a great initiative and a great project to start with, because we started attracting a huge attention from different interested organizations inside Saudi Arabia. Just to name a few, this comes from healthcare sector, comes from food delivery sector, retail sector, and all these kind of requests, it wouldn't be materialized without the help and the support of Flightbase and actually EVA system, who already helped us in building the infrastructure, hub stations, and the other hardware. So our idea as a FalconViz is to integrate again all these components together, the hardware and software and our operation best practice, to make this happen across the kingdom. We are going to build different hub stations and different infrastructure for the drone delivery in different spots based on our client requests. And our aim and our goal is to connect all these hub stations and infrastructure to cover the entire kingdom very soon, and to realize Vision 2030.
Yes, Vision 2030. I think that is something that you have been working towards. So moving on to Achal. Achal, okay, before that, sorry I missed out. Let's watch this quick video from FalconViz team. initial videos when FalconViz was still working on the pilot and trying out carpet to carpet deliveries. We have a video in the end which talks about or which shows how they built in the infrastructure over time or with the help of other organizations such as EVA. And then, but then do wait till the end to get a glimpse of that video. Moving on to Achal, as businesses move from pilot to full-scale deployments, there would be a need for a lot of automated and safety features in the software solution. Would you like to highlight how FlightZip is enabling these operations at scale?
Sure. So, absolutely. Where, as we've been discussing about the entire platform, we provide components which allows you to have safe operations. So as we are going deep into drone delivery and doing these operations, most of them operations are soon going to be autonomous, where you're just placing an order, you will see the video that you're talking about where the package is getting attached to the drone and you're launching it. So you need a lot of different features, safety feature, which allows you to do safe, reliable, beyond visual line of sight operations. So one of the things that we have been closely working to integrate in flights, which will be coming soon, is adding no-fly zone, like a custom no-fly zone, where it would allow you to put these no-fly zones or upload that through KML KMZ file, and no-fly zone will restrict the area drone to enter that area. So in case your delivery path is going to the no-fly zone, the can get that notification or message to alter the delivery path or choose the subsequent path which is available to reach that location. Similarly, adding to that on the next slide, which I can move to the next slide. Yeah, we are adding dynamic path planning and autonomous dynamic path planners with waypoint path along these no-fly zones, where as soon as you put your home location and delivery location, you're automatically generating the flight path. So we have been working on such features which would allow you to have fully autonomous drone deliveries in a very few weeks as we are doing these integrations inside flights. And these would be like key things which would allow to scale apart from the other things that we've been discussing. But as we move towards this fully automated path, we would need such kind of integrations, and this is what we've been focusing on and bringing, where we have all the components related to bvlos, so you could have safe flights and reliable flights.
Highlighting the features that are coming soon in FlightZip. I also understand from the chat that a few of you are not able to see the presentation in full screen mode. I am checking with the product that we are using, that is Hopin, to see how we can resolve this issue. But do not worry, we will once the webinar is over, we will reshare this entire video after editing it for you to have also of the presentation. Moving on to Khalid. Khalid, given your massive this entire process of drone deliveries, how can organizations who would like to get started with drone deliveries take your help? And do you offer regulatory support as well?
Yes, for sure. So after this successful project that we have done with the help of KAUST and NDU, we are ready to copy the exercise and copy the experience and maybe take it to the next level with other organizations inside Saudi Arabia. For sure, being in the market for more than 7 years now, we have all the best practice and all the standards for obtaining the regulations and supporting our clients with all what they need to operate such projects in their premise. There is some requirements, there is some prerequisites that need to be there, and we are ready to help and support whenever possible.
Right. Achal, would you maybe like to share how businesses can get started with FlightZip?
Sure. So if you are looking to get started with FlightZip, it's really easy. You can start with off-the-shelf drones, and we provide the entire stack which could work with your off-the-shelf drones. And then we have partners in every region who could support you with all the service. So if you're looking to have a drone delivery service in Saudi Arabia, you'd have details of FalconViz coming on after the end of the session, where you can contact them and get started. If you're joining us from other part of the world, I saw people joining from Norway and other places, you can contact us and we can help you throughout the journey, where you can leverage our software platform to start drone delivery services in your region.
Thank you, Achal. So let's now watch the video that I mentioned a few moments ago.
السعودي للهدف هو المسدد، نحن كنز للكنوز والنقوش منزل الجد، تحتشد الصواعد ساعد يساعد ساعدي بها افتدي والحماس لي تجدد. فوق السحايب مكانك يا
Just to give everyone some context, this video was created by FalconViz on KSA's National Day. And how cool is the video? I have to say, Luca, Khalid, the video game of FalconViz is top notch. So without further ado, I would like to open the house for please drop your questions in the Q&A panel and I will try to answer them or I'll get our speakers to answer them shortly. I'll just see the kind of questions that we already have. One question is, what kind of delivery mechanisms can you support? So, Luca, I'd like to answer the question.
I'm not sure delivery mechanism. So we have two different options. We have hub to carpet. So there is again a 1 meter square platform that we can distribute to houses. So if you have a garden or a balcony with a clear view of the sky or a rooftop, we can land on one of these carpets. Again, they're only 1 meter square. Or they're called vertipad. That's the technical term. Or hub to hub. So as you saw, the hub in Discovery Square, where we load the payload and can fly to another hub, and there is the integration with the FlightZip software, and you can interact with the hub, have the drone land, center, drop the mechanism, drop the box, and have all the mechanisms do the delivery. We can also land in open space without precision landing. If you have a big enough area, this is also supported. We don't need to take off from a hub, and we don't need to take off from a carpet. This is not necessary, but we just keep it consistent within the university campus, so that we can fly at a consistent altitude. So again, for security reasons, we have a specific flight level that we have to stick to. So again, if you always take off from the same place, you are always at the same altitude.
Right. The question of packages and delivery. So that has come in is what kind of delivery packages can you currently support? Is there a max weight for the packages? And yes, the type of packages, is it food, medicine? What are the different types of packages that it can support?
So at the moment, we are focusing on food delivery and also medicines that are not temperature, let's say, sensitive, so nothing cold, for example, for obvious reasons, since we're in Saudi Arabia. We did run some tests to see if the food arrives in good condition. So this is important when you're doing food delivery, that, for example, you don't have a large temperature drop, because then the food is not so nice. And actually, it arrives much better than a standard food delivery, even considering that on campus we have virtually no traffic. We can also deliver other small items as long as they are under 2 kilos combined, and that would fit the dimensions of the box. There's not really any other limitations. We try not to do open liquids, in quotes. So you could do a soda can, but we wouldn't want to deliver like a Starbucks coffee that if it tips inside the box, it could make a mess. But that's about it.
All right. Thanks, Luca. I think one question that we have, which Achal also maybe can answer. So how do you condition blind spots?
So
yeah, sure, Luca, you can go ahead first. Yeah.
So we have the specifications of the drone, how much wind it can cope with, and so we try to avoid to be very close to that. We try to be quite a bit below, because we're running the drone at full weight sometimes. So we have some percentage margin, and we have a weather station inside the university that we refer to.
Similar lines, as we've been deploying drones in other use cases as well with docking stations, we are continuously realizing the need of all the things that would be required in delivery also. For example, in other use cases, we have also integrated weather stations with the docking stations, weather informations from forecast services, which could allow you to plan your drone delivery missions much better. So this is something which is work in progress, where we would like to bring these weather stations with the docking stations that are being deployed for delivery, as well as the online services, so you can forecast things and make sure your delivery missions are safe and reliable, subject to the weather conditions, wind, heat, rain. It could be anything.
Thank you, Achal. Before we end this session is, Luca, if you could share more insights on what kind of connectivity module are you using, and has that been creating any issues so far?
We use a 6Fab Lab 4G module. We're planning on upgrading to 5G, but at the moment, the video stream is reliable and the data stream is reliable. So we don't think we would be changing that. We might be changing the onboard computer that we're using to something that has, let's say, stronger active cooling, because when the weather is very hot and the drone is maybe stationary waiting for the food to be placed, sometimes it overheats and it takes a while for the temperature to come back down. But again, this is one of the things that we're working on for the next iteration, one of the lessons learned. But this is highly location specific. So we are regularly in the 42, 45 degrees Celsius here. So.
A question along with that is for Achal. Achal, what happens loses connectivity, do we have any provision in place? Yeah.
Sure. So, number of fail safes have been built in into the software since you're operating through 4G, 5G internet connection. So, these are all user configured and triggered in different methods. For example, what happens if you lose connectivity? Should it continue to do the mission? Should it hover or should it come back? Now, depending upon the operations that you're doing, the location you're flying, drone delivery operators have to decide what is the best way in those kind of scenarios and set those fail safes. So we provide all things user configurable. By default, it is returned back to the launch location, so the drone can come back and land. In case it's not able to come back and land, it can go to the nearest safe location if that could be configured in the software. So that is what happens. And if we lose connectivity on your command center like flight zip, there are also provisions that we are working on where it could trigger failsafes because your command center is not connected. So you could lose connectivity on your command center end. So we are building all of these components. A lot of them already exist as we've been talking about fail safes, and the coming up ones which you could have no fly zones and dynamic path planning collaborating with the fail safes as well.
Almost up. So thank you audience for tuning in and taking time out of your busy schedule. I hope we were able to provide value, and I hope to see you at an upcoming webinar soon. Have a great day.
Everybody, I would like to thank Khalid and Luca for spending their time with us, and we really cherish the partnership that we have and the kind of common vision we have to make these drone deliveries happen in a sustainable and more scalable way. We really value the partnership. So thank you so much for your time, and I would like to thank everybody who joined us today. In case you missed out any part of the session, you'll over your email.
Thank you.
Our
Thank you,
pleasure.
Achal.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye
Bijali,
bye.
for all your effort. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Khalid. Thank you, Luke.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.